Welcome back, Dota 2 fans, to what could be our final match of the day. We are in the quarterfinals of the ESL One Hamburg North America qualifiers. Digital Chaos 12-minute GG is what they were able to pull deep from the grasp of BluePikachu. MRP Frontier to bring you all the action in Game 2. We'll see mentally if BP can bounce back here, Franz. The puck rage quit out of the game and then instantly into the second lobby. Seemed very eager to get the game started. So we'll see how shaky they look in the second one.
No, I think they'll do great. My money is on BluePikachu this round. They'll end it in 37 minutes and 22 seconds.
Very specific of you, but hey, you're entitled to your opinion.
Hell yes.
Hell Franz, apparently, in the title.
Was it actually that?
No, not that I saw.
I have a screenshot of it, actually. Here,
okay, all right.
I paused at the right time, apparently, so I'll send it to you later. But for now, back to the draft. Nature's Prophet, Wispan. So whenever you team that plays IO and you don't want to play IO yourself, or you're afraid of a potential of IO, you ban that hero, because it's not that that hero is cheesy, it's that if a team executes an IO lineup really well, it's very difficult to play against. And so if you yourself don't want to play it, or you just don't want to play against it at all, it warrants a first ban. So DC, they'll ban that. They'll pick up a Night Stalker. Night Stalker, an okay position for a hero in the early game. Maybe not the best roamer, but definitely this hero gets a lot done in the mid and late game. The amount of vision control he provides and just the amount of teamfight utility he has with his silence and with his void spell makes this hero really good in the mid game.
Oh boy.
BluePikachu,
one of my favorite heroes, Franz. Who's ready for a fight? Tusk? Are you kidding me? BP pulling out all the stops here.
You gotta get ready for the rupture into Walrus Kick.
Oh boy.
It's a hook.
Yeah, because Aghanim Scepter is definitely an item you're able to get to in a pro game on Tusk. Although it would be nice to see.
It happened once, right? And I remember I was watching a C qualifier game, and it was a Bloodseeker Tusk Pudge, and then they ruptured a Sven, like a full HP Sven. They Walrus kicked him away, hooked him, and then Walrus kicked him again with a refresher or some garbage, and he died instantly.
Sounds like a winning plan to me.
So BluePikachu, they have Lich. Lich, a hero we get to see a lot in the last couple of months, and this hero is just strong because he generally wins his lane just by being there and by harassing enemy heroes with Frost Nova. So the enemy team has one lane that's always a little bit weaker than it should be, and then you have the teamfight potential with Chain Frost, and so that combination makes that hero first pick material, and just I think a top tier pick in general. But DC, they respond with a Batrider. Batrider is a hero that can get a lot out of the jungle as soon as he hits level 2, preferably level 3 and 4, but he jungles quite quickly. And so that can free up some space for another one of DC's heroes to sort of take EXP in his place when they need to catch up.
All right, a lot of utility in this opening from BluePikachu. So it looks like the support duel will be the Lich Tusk, and they're going to pick up the Beastmaster. Good pseudo counter to the Batrider and the Night Stalker, but it kind of depends. I mean, there's a duality there. It kind of depends which lineup is ahead. Both of them, placing a lot of emphasis on vision in this second game.
I think Night Stalker wins this matchup by default, to be honest, just because the Hawks are so important and vision is so important for Beastmaster. And the Hawks give no vision when the Night Stalker ulties, so you can't actually find a target as the Beastmaster. And part of the reason why Night Stalker Batrider opening is so strong is because you know that in the mid game and late game, you have the vision advantage as long as you don't screw anything up. And so you always get that Batrider initiation you're looking for, and the enemy team doesn't see it coming, or they can't initiate first. And usually the team that initiates first is the one that wins. And DC also have a counter initiation of their own. In Winter Wyvern, this hero, probably one of the best counter initiators. Not only can she save her ally with Cold Embrace, but she can kind of turn the tides with her ultimate and totally mess up BluePikachu. So
yeah, perfect counter to the Beastmaster. You mentioned the Cold Embrace, which is almost the entire duration of the Primal Roar. Actually, is the entire duration of the Primal Roar. Perfect overlap there. And then also the inner beast, once that's skilled up on the Beastmaster, gets turned against their allies with the Winter's Curse. So yeah, it's there's been a meme surrounding this hero over the previous season, but in this specific scenario, feels very good. A lot of physical damage from the Tusk as well, so the Cold Embrace gets even better there. Bloodseeker, maybe a bit of punishment to the Cold Embrace with the Blood Right, but in general, just a very self-sufficient laner, a hero that ramps up quickly and can get to work with this Beastmaster. But you did call it, right? Rupture Walrus Kick. That's the combo right there.
That's the combo. Now they need an alchemist to get the Ags up on all their heroes. Get the infinite Chain Frost bounce.
What is the Bloodseeker Ags? Is it 2 rupture charges?
He gets 2 charges.
Right.
But not an item that Tusk usually buys unless it goes super late. But I mean, Walrus Kick is really good for one thing other than killing people with Rupture, and it's good at taking people out of the team fight. And when you have a hero like Tusk, it kind of changes the function of the hero, right? You're not just looking to punch someone anymore. You're literally just taking someone out of the fight, 900 range. And usually that's the difference between a won and a lost team fight, especially when the enemy team has a hero like Winter Wyvern that needs to be close to his team to save them. And so, not saying he'll buy an Ags this game, but it's not the worst Ags upgrade in the game. There are definitely worse ones.
Legion Commander.
Hey, Legion Commander Ags is underrated, okay? It's actually really good.
In the late game, I can get it.
It's
totally.
A dang death sentence if you Legion Commander Ags dual summon, because I think it brings the duration up to 8 seconds. So if your Legion's actually able to 1v1 a majority of the heroes on the enemy team and you get it off, it's just over for them, right? Especially when you have something to buff up the Legion Commander.
Mm-hmm. We saw it fail miserably today. Context of that comment there. Actually, yeah, I guess this was before you were awake. This Mouse got 2-1'd by Team Kingwin, who is rather unknown, and Thug ended up building an Aghanim's second item on the Legion, and it did not fare well for them. They had a Tiny, so they kind of relied on the Tiny combo for a lot of their damage, and with the Legion Ags, he couldn't execute. Anyways, long story short, Tusk Walrus Kick, not that bad. Puck pickup comes out for DC. Something that I would say all three of their, well, at least MSS and Abed, certainly very comfortable.
Klink's hero, fairly tanky, provides a lot of damage, actually lanes well against all of Blue Pikachu's heroes. And if they send the Lich against the Klinks, then Klinks can just solo lane and hope he hits level 6 and then catch up from there. So Wyvern and Nightstalker can move around and do their own thing, but of course, this hero is kind of susceptible to getting ruptured because Klinks relies on his positioning, and if he can't reposition in fights, then it's GG. And also, the Klinks probably wants to buy a Diffusal this game just to remove Frost Armor, since Frost Armor is very good against physical damage dealers such as Klinks.
Very Mason-esque hero. Well, so. Bit of comfort there.
Feels like they put Mason on these sort of strong lane heroes that can like move around a lot, because I think DC's gameplay is sort of defined by DC trying to make these movements to take towers, take map control, and sort of like these very macro movements. They don't seem to like small skirmishes. Whenever they show up to a fight, they show up together. Like last game we saw like Mason rotated in on Weaver, and suddenly there was these 5 heroes on DC and they take the team fight. I think that's the kind of gameplay that I've seen DC do a lot. So maybe they're kind of going for that with the Klinks, because Klinks has high mobility. Klinks is generally always ready to fight. As soon as he has his ulti, eats a creep, TPs to a lane, or just moves to a lane and then starts fighting. So should be a pretty good pickup for them.
Final pick going to come out from BluePikachu, and it will be the Nyx Assassin, which means that's probably going to be mid lane, or is it the core Tusk by chance?
Unknown.
Yeah.
Could be a jungle Beastmaster. That's my shiz.
That was well, the offlaner for now from last game will pick up the Beastmaster, but that was deadly in China for a while, and I guess throughout Pro Dota when you got that when the Iron Talon first came out, and Beastmaster was getting level 6 at 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, the neutral creep values were also higher, so it was more time efficient to jungle, and there were a couple of places in the jungle where you could tango a tree, and then only one creep would hit you at a time. So then it became really health efficient. Like you
Good
wouldn't really
old
take
choke point juggling.
Yeah, you wouldn't really take damage, so can't really do that anymore. All of the only viable junglers in the game are junglers that don't take damage in the process of jungling. So like Nature's Prophet and Enigma are two I can name from the top of my head.
Winter Wyvern wings are extremely bugged on my screen.
They are also bugged on my screen.
All right, just checking.
Do you think that's the I bet it's whoever created those wings. It might have clipped a little, or maybe they changed like the wyvern's wing size, and then like, because I know they use like vectors or something, but won't go into that. I am not an expert on that, but that's my guess.
All right, BP.
That's my guess because it looks normal in the game. So
looks like they're taking this game too seriously. Keeping out to lane under the cover of smoke is the Lich, and he'll get down the exact same ward that they placed last game, in fact, in that mid lane.
So Moon thinks that someone broke his smoke, or he just walked into the tower. Or maybe he knows he walked into the tower.
Blaming himself.
He's spamming the crap out of it, so... I mean, no one really broke... Yep, they know the ward's there too, because he broke his smoke on the tower, so... Rest in peace, ward. In a short while.
Just a poor little fish lure, man. What did it ever do to you, BluePikachu?
My gratitude.
Well, they need an advantage. Game 1 is any indication, so let him get a free ward.
Also, chat wheeling happening here.
Yeah, it's just not the same, is it? Since the battle pass expired.
They'll bring it back. They'll make it better.
I for one will say that patience from Joe literally anti-tilted me many games. So.
What is this pinging?
Okay.
Dude, he planted a sentry up there. I mean, someone on BluePikachu pinged that spire, so they must have known that there was a ward there. But then instead, Tusk misses his sentry, and DC get all the information they need, and Abed misses his block, and they're spam pinging the crap out of him. But so did...
Yeah. Still meets in the middle of the lane, everything just fine. However, this good old sacrifice going to make Abed's life a living hell. As you mentioned, Mason with a decent matchup against the Beastmaster, he can just chew through these boars pretty quickly.
This is fed boars.
Save. Gonna take a decent amount of damage here, as does Leroy.
Don't mind me.
You know, if you're trying to feed a game, it's underrated to pick Beastmaster, but like the Hawks and the Boars give a ton of gold, so I find it's more effective than just feeding your hero if you're trying to
already
lose a game
TPing in mid lane. Okay, nothing skilled up just yet. We'll now skill the shards. Abed has the orb and will make it back, and they have some potential here. Bulba, though, no mana for that extra void. He's already expended a couple in this mid lane, and he'll have to back off. Well, the courier's ferrying out a salve to Abed, so he'll be able to sustain in this lane.
This Bloodseeker is actually quite difficult to deal with because you have the Frost Armor, and then you have Abed being behind just from the Lich Sacrifice, so we'll have to see if a kill ever occurs.
It's the ultimate no fun build. 0-1-1 on the Lich.
Big fan of this Nyx item build, by the way.
Oh, well, I can't find the Nyx. Okay.
Bottom. I mean,
he's got great base regen in the first place, right? Mango popped up by MSS, and clearly one mango superior to 3 mangoes confirmed.
I'm pretty sure it's because he wasn't actually able to use the mangoes.
He had 0-1-1 build on the Nyx, so no stun available as the Carapace was down at the time. And MSS, he'll be the first one to find a kill. Second game. Mid lane, it looks like they may be...
Whoa.
Oh, the jaunt forward looking for the courier, and Abed will find it. Uses his phase shift, though, and the orb here, so could be in a little bit of trouble. Couple of thirst
the turbos
stacks.
are kicking it.
Yeah. And Abed fairy fires, tries to make it out. Okay, he's in the middle of the damn trees, and with the thirst vision,
No
it will bring him down.
The turbos were whizzing, man.
Arctic Burn available here, top lane. Mason doesn't have the skeleton walk yet, so unlikely to see him chase over Master. But Moon will be able to pressure the Beastmaster back out and to his shrine area.
Mason and Moon are doing more than okay in this lane. The Beastmaster's kind of knocked out of the lane level 2. Doesn't really want to come back to lane because as soon as he gets Arctic burned, he's eating like 5 searing arrows and he's back to no health. So doing a little bit of lane management for Mason here, pulling over the creep wave just to balance out the creep waves again.
Abed, much different story in the second game than in the first. Having trouble keeping up in CS, as you would expect him to, against a Bloodseeker. 22 and 11 is his opponent in lane to his 9 and 2. Has the 1 death to his name as well. So only level 3, getting harassed back by this Lich, and seems after the game 1 rage quit from the puck, that BluePikachu have really dedicated a good amount of their resources to shutting Abed down in this early game.
And there is the Lich as well, and it's just quite a tough lane for Puck. Lane's pushing in for him though, so there's gonna be 2 full creep waves here.
Out of mana bottom lane. And we'll get shard blocked here. Has a fairy fire tango and 1 stick charge. He will get just enough to get off the Firefly. The Carapace is there though, but 4 stacks on the Nyx Assassin. It could be that the Tusk is in trouble here too. He'll drag him down to the south. 1 more right click. Double kill for a Reef. And MSS God looking like,
you know,
mid-season form right now.
He actually bought Arcane Boots to get mana there.
Okay,
so
alright.
now he's got mana boots, so we'll see if he goes for an Aether Lens or something.
That's the first time they nerfed that lasso range. Aether Lens was all the rage. But
can't
certainly
be good, right? Because there's so many other items you can buy on that hero.
Certainly a deviation from the norm. I was just gonna say, so I agree with you there. I mean, it's definitely worth getting a double kill over dying. Meanwhile, top lane,
DC
Mason.
Movement. Holy crap! The classic DC movement coming up from the Batrider and the next Night Stalker Bulba going mid. They're gonna try to kill this Bloodseeker here. This Bloodseeker is
Level
quite a
5
tough
and a
kill.
half.
He's got Frost Armor on him.
He's going to get voided up, though, and MSS will be inbound. Lots of magic damage there. They'll lasso up the Lich as well. Looking for a 2-for-1. Abed going to chase forward. And with the Waning Rift, 1 more right-click. He will find that kill. So Bulba going to get 1, and Abed.
Hey, guess what? Guess what kind of timing this was?
Siege creep. Man, I'm
Siege
learning
creep.
so much. I'm learning so much.
You.
Mason, top lane. Juked. Leroy. Into the caverns, like his cousin Jenkins. And Save gonna drop down here mid lane. Saw a couple of Save Dota fans in the chat. But he will unfortunately drop here. And yeah, as you were mentioning with that siege creep, they do get near a third of the tower's HP removed here in the mid lane.
Yeah, the Bloodseeker did quick work on that siege creep, so it wasn't actually able to get off that many attacks. But I think the real success story for DC right now is his bottom lane. It's the only lane that hasn't died yet. Nemesis is doing more than well, sitting on 1,000 gold as well as Arcane Boots. So he'll have quite a good blink timing, probably in the next 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes.
Pulling over the creeps too, so may just have a double wave to combo up with this siege creep. We'll see if he choose to bring anyone down, but yeah, the wave is going to be a little bit short, in fact, and people will probably die.
It's not a movement they want to make, and Abed's like not in a really good spot right now. He's level 4, Bloodseeker's level 6, and Mason's not quite level 6 yet, so he's not ready either. So if any movement happens, I don't imagine. Alright, as I say that, Mason gets a kill, but it looks like Bulba wrapped around as well. If there's any movement, it's going to exclude the puck, I believe.
Certainly reasonable. MSS being stalked here by the level 6 Nyx Assassin, and they will find him out. It's a big kill for them to find highest net worth value target on the map, and they're unable to kill him off so far. White Carapace is ready, so MSS refraining from using the Firefly. Now the Mango used up. Stun!
He's
MSS?
Hardest spell in the game to land, I'm telling you.
There you go. Save, though. They'll find a Vengeance kill for Bulba, if a Vengeance was a word. And by the end of the first night, Bulba involved in 3 kills. The one big rotation mid lane gets the Beastmaster top alongside Mason, and then that one bottom. MSS, though, taking a spill is certainly not ideal considering how much he was worth at the time, and it helps out this Nyx Assassin who didn't necessarily have a smooth beginning to this one.
A prize.
I mean, Nyx Assassin naturally counters the puck as well, so if this Nyx gets if this Nyx has a good start, which he sort of does now with that kill,
Rupture
actually,
mid. Moon will get under the cold embrace. Abed nearby. And Arctic Burn to fly over the shards. Just enough. They'll force him deep underneath the tower. Splinter Blast will come out, but still, with Abed lacking the levels as he is, they just don't have enough damage to turn this one.
I can see a huge potential for the Nyx to go for pickoffs on Abed, especially since Abed's kind of behind on levels and gold right now.
He is wrapping around the tower. Daytime though, so Abed should have vision of him as soon as he walks under tower range. Now Bloodright is going to be there. Abed, oh, he uses the phase shift early. Now he's silenced up, and they'll hit the Vendetta Strike and the Impale. He's going to drop down. Splinter Blast flying through, connects onto the Bloodseeker. Moving quickly with the phase boots is Bulba. It is daytime, but the Void, level 3, is there to grab him the kill. And they will Delta Split, will Moon and Bulba, to prevent any further aggression to Tusk's abilities. Rather large cooldowns at this point early in the game, 16 and 20 seconds respectively on his shards and Snowball, and he's unable to press further.
Mason takes the top tower, so that frees him up to go anywhere he wants now, because whenever you take the enemy offlane tower, it makes it harder for the enemy to make movements into your lane, so you know your safe lane tower is slightly more protected, and you also know that if you move around, it's going to be a while before the enemy can actually do anything to your tower, so he backs off for now.
Mason just...
And the dust is on that Tusk, so they weren't able to catch Mason. I think that would have been an easy kill if they somehow caught him, because his Death Pact hadn't been used yet, but instead the Nyx scouts him out. DC are being a little bit careful of their positioning right now. Abed's just cutting waves in the bottom lane.
Sentry down for the Dire in the mid lane, so Mason feels rather safe. There is a Radiant Sentry up on the Radiant Hill, but it did not scout Mason's movement. And it looks like this Nyx could be in a little bit of trouble. Crippling Fear being the first spell to go out. And as you mentioned, DC often moving as a complete unit in this early mid-game. Mason will find himself a kill. It's going to be a lot more difficult to bring down this Bloodseeker.
Blink on Batrider.
That is a pretty darn good timing for MSS. Looking to eclipse the level 10 marks shortly as well. So he does a lot of damage in his own right.
And Nyx is setting up for Abed bottom. I think this was a kill if he didn't show himself. It could have Vendetta and waited for the Tusk to get a little bit closer, but instead, I was probably going to play a little bit cautiously.
Nice play by Abed to phase shift the expected Spike Carapace there. But now he's used his Orb and Spike Carapace. They're going to miss the Impale, however, Snowball will fly through. No Walrus Punch yet. Shards will not be able to latch. And meanwhile, mid lane, MSS going to find the Bloodseeker, which is exactly the target that they want. Blink Lasso, or Blink. Yeah, Blink Lasso utilized for that. Mason going to get to work on this mid lane tier 1. And with this nearby vision, the Dire feel rather safe to take it out.
So BluePikachu, they have the pickup potential, and the Nyx and the Beastmaster. They just have to place it correctly, and they have to be careful of of DC's movements as well, because they can get picked off really easily through the Bat Rider. I mean, Abbott's been doing a good job of just making sure that he's farming safely. He doesn't feel threat because I think he knows that the Nyx isn't looking for him at particular moments, especially when his enemy team is...
Alright, they're going to open on the Beastmaster here. They flame break him before he gets the Primal Roar off. Void will finish him off. They do get the silence onto Mason, who's going to try and TP out, but the Snowball will be there. Chain Frost is there as well. Nice Winter's Curse, though, coming through from Moon. It keeps Mason up for a little while longer, as they will bring down the Tusk. MSS is able to TP out, and Moon will do the same. Meanwhile, Abed finally finding some free space that he desperately needed in this early game. So when all is said and done, it will be a 2-for-1. But it's roughly even when you look at numbers, since Mason worth more than the tandem of heroes that DC were able to bring down. However, they will get a tower off the back end of it, but it we have failed to note yet that BluePikachu have made it past 12 minutes.
I mean, this is like one way that you can use to catch one of your heroes up, right? Your team, they move around as 4, they're fighting all the time, and Abba's just been farming the bottom lane using all the space, especially since he got hurt so much from that Lich Bloodseeker lane.
Yeah, he's level 8 now, which is decent at this point in the game. Almost on par with the safe lane Nyx Assassin of BP. Mason looking to hunt once again, as it is nighttime, for another 2 minutes. And drags back the Tusk. Save will get the Walrus Punch off, but it'll only delay the inevitable, which is his death. Now Rupture coming through, though, in the mid lane. Bulbuck gonna walk out of the Blood Right, but with the Blade Mail, they can't really turn back into this Bloodseeker. Now Mason, though, looking to open up on him. With the Ice Armor, though, it's difficult for him to do so. And on the backside, the Nyx Assassin gonna stun up MSS. Jump forward, though. Lasso is gonna keep the Bloodseeker from continuing to attack on Mason. And a Chain Frost, though. Oh, that was Abed's combo. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Many combos were occurring.
4 for 2 in the favor of DC. They lose Mason once again, which certainly is not ideal, but Abed involved in that one, and he will pick up 710 experience.
Yeah, it's about an even exchange, especially since the Nyx is closing in on his Midas, which should help him scale into the mid-late game.
Flesh sustains, gold remains.
And even though it was a 3-for-2 exchange, DC were so far ahead that I think BP are okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Although Abed does get a nice, basically a full level worth of experience off the back end of that. He's got his Veil now, so
And he's caught right back up.
Mm-hmm. 4th overall on net worth, level 11, and well on his way to the Blink Dagger. So 1 minute or 30 seconds left of night, but they do have the darkness. And Bulba bot lane has the Crippling Fear. Oh, and the Impale used. Now this Nyx going to be in a lot of trouble. He will get slowed up by the Void and should just be one right click. Simply going to accept his fate, in fact. Bottom lane.
In the jungle.
Yeah, they're going to go in on MSS. Blood Right should finish him off here. And they will be able to do so. Blade Mail popped up. Abed looking for the kill still on this Tusk. And he will be able to bring him down with the help of Bulba. Shrine going to be popped up by the Bloodseeker. They do have a Primal Roar. Mason coming through and does a lot of damage, but he is going to cop the Blood Right because of it. Now trying to fight into this Bloodseeker. They get the Winter's Curse off. Nicely played by Moon. Abed will finish off on the north side the Beastmaster. And the Lich gets off a decent Chain Frost. It kills off Bulba. And Abed having a little fun with his veteran teammate. As Bulba goes down on the back end. Again, it's 4 for 3. BluePikachu showing signs of life in this one. In fact, they take the lead big time in that fight in terms of net metrics. Killing off MSS first for them certainly bode well the fight thereafter.
Yeah, I mean the fight puts them slightly less behind, but it doesn't really accomplish anything for them. I think they're probably their biggest problem right now is they're not actually able to out pick off DC. Like DC will always be looking for pickoffs, but BluePikachu looks like they're just content farming on their side of the map right now. They haven't gotten any tier 1s, so they're totally behind on map control, and as a result, the Beastmaster can't really do his job. And the Beastmaster job is quite tough because there's so much counter initiation from DC's lineup. So they probably have to do a better job of looking for pickoffs when DC's more separated, when they're not ready to fight, because it seems like whenever BluePikachu find a pickoff, DC's already ready to respond.
Now it seems as good a time as any with the Knicks hitting level 12 and it being daytime. But as you mentioned, look, just kind of content to farm on their side of the map. They've been playing more of a reactive game than a proactive game, and now Beastmaster, yeah, going to be initiated on, and we'll use the Primal Roar, but to no avail. Bulba sitting on the high ground, has a Darkness available. Looking for save, will pop it. Mason nearby as well. They get the Void off, couple of right clicks, and Snowball has to be towards Mason, as he will drag him to his death. Walrus Punch is there. One last right click from Abed. Gets the kill.
Oh, they spotted the lich.
And now force forward. Abed veils him up. Has the coil as well. Jump forward. Waning Rift. Not even going to expend the coil. Economic play there from the DC mid laner. And conveniently enough, the wave is right under the tower.
I've seen Abed do that a lot, actually. Just saving his spells. That's that 10k efficiency, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it just feels like BluePikachu aren't ready for this aggression from DC. I mean, they're missing so much map control that it's kind of difficult for them to predict and react to these rotations. And
they still have pretty decent vision. 3 wards, all kind of centered around their jungle, and they've been picked off in the mid and top area recently. Abed taking some damage from the Blade Mail, as is Mason, but they kill off the Bloodseeker first. Snowball will come through, though. Mason will be the trade. And now MSS looking to re-engage. Flame Break back onto the Nyx Assassin. Save also in trouble on the Tusk. Slowed up and jump forward from Abed. They get the Waning Rift off. So Mason rather brazenly dumps his entire load into a Blade Mail Bloodseeker and does end up falling for it, but they still take a 3-for-1 trade when all is said and done.
Abed's starting to work on a Linken's, which should make it harder for him to get picked off because all of the stuns on BluePikachu, except Walrus Punch and Nyx Carapace, get blocked by Linken's.
Up forward. Lich making a little trouble, but I'll bet he's missing the orb at the time. So we'll think better of it.
Bulba's starting to work on the Aghanims. You don't usually see this item anymore. There's a lot of utility items Night Stalker can get, and usually it's sort of a big commitment for him to get it. I mean, you buy it in small items, but it takes a long time before it actually comes up online, and Night Stalker is strong at a point around like 10 to 20 minutes, and you don't really want to buy an eggs all the time. And part of the reason why people don't use to buy anymore is because you have that flying vision from your passive now. So I think he's getting it here just to get total map control.
Meanwhile, they're going to find their Crippling Fear out on the Nyx Assassin. Lasso's going to find a second target. That's going to be the Beastmaster. And, oh, excuse me, the coil finds 2. And GG is called.
He just disconnected.
Not so fast.
Yeah, that's the same player who rage quit the first game, so maybe he's got a little bit of his sportsmanship to work on. But either way,
good showing from DC here. I mean, the draft they drafted well, and then they played the draft really well, and MSS got a lot done in the bottom lane, and I think from there it was just very difficult for BluePikachu to come back. So really well played by DC.
We saw how hard they rolled when Abed was able to like pseudo 1v2 in the mid lane. In game 1, he definitely won the 1v1 matchup pretty hard, Ember Spirit versus Puck. But they even had a second hero there early on. In this game, Abed struggled a lot, but they still won the other lanes pretty handily both times. Just kind of the veteran experience, maybe a little bit more talent on the DC side, really showing, you kind of said earlier, the mark of a good team. Ability to press the advantage, or that it's wasted potential to not be able to press that advantage, and DC is certainly showing the inclination to do so here. So they take a 2-0 victory. I want to say thank God because we've been I've been casting since 7:30 a.m. It's currently 9:30 p.m. So three game series earlier today, and base DC give us 2 sub 25-minute wins in the final series of the day. They move on, guys, to the semifinals in this North America region. They will face off versus the winner of Vici J Storm versus Wheelwreck While Whistling, which is actually happening right now over on Join Dota Green. So be sure to check that out. Until then, I hope you guys enjoyed the cast. You can follow myself on Twitter for all times that I go live at MRP Dota. You can follow my co-caster at Hello Franz. Franz, any last words for the public before we return tomorrow?
Thanks for watching us. Go NA Dota.
GG, NA Dota indeed. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.